Hello everyone, this is your host from Galactic Update. Today I will share everything I know about the secret Mars bases, Galactic Human Slave Trade, and the secret Nazi imperialistic slave system. All information in the following video originate from a book called Insiders Reveal Secret Space Programs and Extraterrestrial Alliances, authored by Michael E. Sala, PhD scholar. It is essential for mankind to understand that the galactic human slave trade exists, and that millions of captured humans are taken off-planet to distant colonies on other worlds to be bartered or abused. Goode is an insider from the secret space program, and he claims that the galactic human slave trade is now opposed by an alliance of secret space programs that plan to disclose the full truth about the abusive practices that have plagued humanity for centuries, if not millennia, due to corrupt local elites of the Cabal Illuminati and intervention by imperialist space powers from the Draco Federation Alliance. In response to a series of questions, Goode explains just how extensive the galactic human slave trade has been, the principal parties involved, and the rigorous mistreatment of those unfortunate enough to have been taken captive. It starts out in some cases with organized crime groups who are into the sex and slave trade, which is very much alive in the 20th and 21st centuries. Many of these crime groups or gangs have specialists who work from lists of desired people to be obtained, while many others are victims of opportunity. These people operate in just about any country you can think of. Often people are grabbed who lived on the streets, in third world countries, or from intensive parents. This level of human trafficking brings in many hundreds of thousands of people per year into the slave trade. These people do not know or care what happens to the people they obtain and hand off to handlers in exchange for money. Then there are these special operator groups who have specific shopping lists that will go through a great deal of trouble and personal rise to obtain certain types of individuals that are on their lists. People at this level know that their victims are going into something bigger than just the global human trafficking systems, and they deal directly with Cabal Illuminati types. These Cabal Illuminati types then funnel abducted people into their processing centers, where the people are catalogued and it is decided if they will be sent below ground for various uses by allied ETs or will be used as commodity in off-world trade. There is no currency or financial system that is used between spacefaring civilizations, so everything is based on bartering. Some ETs are interested in some of the Earth's art, luxury items like spices and chocolate, animal and plant life, while many others are interested in trading their technology and biological specimens they have obtained elsewhere for human beings. These humans are used for many purposes, including manual slave labor, sex trade, engineering and manufacturing. There are also some of the ETs that use humans as a food supply. Goode describes how a galactic human slave trade has been occurring for many centuries, and how officials in the various secret space programs sought to profit from it rather than bring it to an end. The secret Earth governments and their syndicates discovered that a large amount of humans were being taken off the planet by various extraterrestrials anyway, so they decided to find a way to profit from it and have control over which people were being taken. In prior arrangements, they were made promises of receiving technologies and biological specimens for allowing groups to abduct humans, but the extraterrestrials rarely delivered on their promises. Once they had developed the advanced infrastructure ICC in our solar system, along with advanced technologies, the ICC then decided to use human trafficking as one of their resources in interstellar bartering. Some of the positive developments that have recently curtailed or mitigated the galactic human slave trade has been described by Goode. He says that the solar system-wide quarantine put in place by the Sphere Being Alliance has cut back on the number of captive humans previously taken outside the solar system to be traded or sold. Goode describes the very positive role of an ancient Mayan space program that has established colonies in the Pleiades, which has helped significantly in mitigating the galactic slave trade by freeing captive humans and relocating them to sanctuaries in their colonies. After a full disclosure event, Goode describes a very positive future for humanity, which is now ready to experience a Star Trek-like civilization. Here, former victims of the Galactic Human Slave Trade, or those used as slave labor on interplanetary corporate conglomerate facilities, can safely return home. During World War II, the Nazi SS ruthlessly pursued its dream of creating a parallel industrial empire that would build flying saucer vehicles capable of space travel and create super weapons of war using millions of slaves. As the war approached its fateful climax, the Nazi SS devoted its rapidly dwindling resources to relocating all it could salvage to its industrial infrastructure to secret bases in South America and Antarctica, with the hope of one day achieving its dream. The Nazi SS cooperated with the Vrill Society, which had its parallel secret space program moved to 3 remote Antarctic bases, both prior to and then during the war. The Nazi SS, along with its Black Sun elite, worked with the Vrill Society and used their new bases to continue building advanced weapons and spacecraft. The surviving Vril Nazi forces progressed very quickly and were able to defeat Admiral Byrd's Operation Highjump, a 1947 punitive naval expedition designed to locate and destroy the secret Nazi SS Antarctic bases. Next, the Nazis pressured the Truman and Eisenhower administrations into signing secret agreements. Nazi assets then infiltrated and took over much of the US military-industrial complex and the emerging corporate-run space program, the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate (ICC). A key ideological principle from the Nazi SS, the use of slave labor, was continued by a Nazi-infiltrated US military-industrial complex in both deep underground military bases and corporate-run elements of secret space programs. Albert Speer, a Nazi Germany's armaments minister, wrote a book about the parallel industrial infrastructure developed by Himmler's SS to build superweapons that would win the war. In his book called Infiltration, How Heinrich Himmler Schemed to Build an SS Industrial Empire, Speer describes how he had been ordered to support Himmler's SS in building its parallel empire that used millions of slaves for building superweapons in huge underground construction facilities. For instance, between 1942 and 1945, Sauckel, a Nazi head of labor deployment, managed to deport 7,652,000 people from the occupied territories to Germany in order to use them for German industry. The Nazi SS planned to use millions of slaves to win the war, but also to continue to use slaves in peacetime to prepare for a final conflict with the USA. This vision of a peacetime Reich was thus based on the existence of millions of permanent slaves who were neither political opponents nor so-called racial enemies. Because of economic necessity, they would be kept in camps all their lives with women in brothels. Goode has disclosed that the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate (ICC) has secret bases on the Earth, Moon, Mars and elsewhere, and that they use slave labor, a key ideological principle adopted from the Nazi SS. What we know from Speer's books is that Nazi Germany's SS planned to continue building superweapons in vast underground facilities, using an empire of slaves in an effort to eventually conquer the US. What Goode tells us is that while the Nazi SS did not conquer the US through military means during World War II, it did so through a silent coup in the 1950s, during which it infiltrated and took over major elements of the US military-industrial complex. Consequently, in a number of deep underground bases on Earth and beyond, an empire of slaves is being used to build new generations of advanced weapons and spacecraft for a corporate secret space program. These programs have been heavily influenced by remnants of the Nazi SS, which successfully infiltrated secret space programs, such as the interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate that has an extensive number of bases on Mars. Goode released a report about an inspection tour on Mars he claimed he participated in, along with others from a secret space program alliance. Goode describes how he and Lieutenant Colonel Gonzalez were each assigned a security team of 2 intuitive empath assistants. They were accompanied on the trip to Mars by a representative of the interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate. The inspection of the Mars ICC facility, described in Goode's report, helps confirm that slave labor conditions do indeed exist, at least at some of these facilities where civilians are psychologically manipulated and physically abused by tyrannical base leaders who tolerate no dissent. Gonzalez and Goode saw quite a lot of people in various psychological stages of psychological distress locked up in detention cells. And Gonzalez described one of the base commanders on Mars as a tyrant and a total megalomaniac. Advanced technologies produced at these covert Mars facilities appear to be a valuable commodity in trade agreements with an extraordinary high number of extraterrestrial civilizations. Gonzalez told Goode that the mission has provided good intelligence about ICC operations on Mars. He stated that the ICC's goal was propaganda, and that since the recent reports that were released to the public about the slave trade and labor going on by the ICC, that they have been extremely upset and worked up about this type of information release. The existence of secret bases on Mars and elsewhere in the solar system, controlled by a corporate conglomerate regime, trading advanced technologies produced by human workers in slave labor conditions for interstellar trade, is certainly a cause of great concern. In addition, there appears to be minimal accountability or oversight of such facilities and the base commanders running them. In March 2014, Randy Cramer, using the synonym Captain K, came forward with his claims of a 20-year tour of duty with a classified space program from 1987 to 2007. Cramer has total recall of his covert space program service. In an interview with Michael Salla, he says that he served the first 17 years of his tour of duty with an infantry unit on Mars that was part of what he called the Mars Defense Force, whose primary mission was to defend the 5 civilian colonies owned by the Mars Colony Corporation. The Mars Defense Force is a specific private contracted military organization which is specifically contracted to serve under the Mars Colony Corporation by protecting and defending the Mars Colony Corporation and its interests. Cramer says that prior to his 20-year tour of duty, he was trained as a super soldier. Mind control techniques were used to enhance his physical abilities during a 12-year childhood training program called Operation Moonshadow. This was done through a covert branch of the US Marine Corps, Cramer referred to as Special Section. After completing his covert Mars service, Randy Cramer says that he served as a pilot with a secret space program called the Earth Defense Force, where he patrolled the solar system from a cigar-shaped spacecraft carrier. Cramer claims that he is acting under the orders of his military chain of command in revealing his knowledge of the Mars Defense Force and the secret space program he served on. As always, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Have a good day!